All right. Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. We are now only 28 days away from kickoff of the NFL season. That is only 4 weeks. Just got to get through the preseason. Football will be here before we know it. So we're back again with our second to last division in the division series. We'll be heading east to break down the worst division in football last year, including the Eagles, of course, as we're all repping the Birds right now. Eagles fans, a little bit of bias here, including also the Giants.
Whole lot of bias.
Also the Giants football team and the Cowboys. So for each team, we'll do some cap or no cap, as always, questions and our bold takes and favorite targets. But before we dive right in here, Carson Wentz, we got some news on Wednesday that he could be back for week 1 after it seemed like he wasn't going to be back till October. So does this change any of their skill players' ranks heading into 2021, including Jonathan Taylor, wide receiver core, Naheem Hines? What do you guys think?
Not even just Wentz, Quentin Nelson. Apparently, they have the same schedule to return. It's kind of weird, but
because didn't they have like the same injury?
Yeah, the exact same injury.
Remember the tweet? It said like
that.
Frank Wright. It said Frank Wright was also getting foot surgery. I don't know if that was a typo, but are they just all sitting in hospital beds, just lined up, getting foot worked on? But I don't think they like makes their ranks go up any higher. It's pretty much where they were when they were all healthy to begin with. You're just not as worried anymore, because I saw people worried about Jonathan Taylor's value dropping because Quentin Nelson and Wentz, but I think they're fine now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's probably just the same as we expected heading into the season here. I think they all moved kind of back up just a little bit after I was a little nervous to move them down a little bit. But I don't think it bumps them up any higher. We already knew what to expect there. But all right, let's start off with the G-Men in New York, the New York Giants. Let's start with their QB1. Does Danny Dimes have any relevance this year in fantasy? He's got a ton of weapons now. What do you think his ceiling is?
Well, he finished QB 24 last year with pretty much the same team, addition of Galladay. But I am high on the Giants.
Saquon.
Yeah, they still got Saquon
minus
too.
Saquon. So, Saquon addition now.
Yeah,
but I'm high on the Giants offense. I do like the addition of Galladay and Saquon's return, fantasy wise. But it's a prove it year for Daniel Jones. The one thing that is an issue is his turnovers. He's had 29 turnovers in 27 games. So halfway through the season, he might not even make it through the season if that's not fixed. But he can run the ball. Last podcast, T guys brought up how he has more rushing yards than Mahomes, for what that's worth. But he can run the ball. He might not make it to the end zone because he'll trip on the white line. But I just don't know how much you're trusting him being your QB1 outside of him having all these good weapons.
Yeah,
I agree. I like him as definitely like a late round QB2. I mean, his 2019 season with Saquon healthy all year was much better than his season last year. So I think him being back helps. And of course, having Kenny Galladay helps. Because aside from that, they still have Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, who I like a lot. And I just think he definitely has a big leap this year compared to last year. But I just don't know if he's going to put up them QB1 numbers. I just don't see him finishing inside that top 12. Maybe like between 15 and 20, I see. Definitely not outside the top 20 again. But I just don't see him having them QB1 numbers.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's more of a late round QB2. I think his ceiling is probably between 12 and 15. I think that's where like you could see him being like a viable like fill-in starter at best.
Yeah, for some reason I do have the feeling that he could have like a sneaky Kirk Cousins type season where no one talks about how good of a season he's having in fantasy, but just somehow leaps up the board.
Too risky right now for me to kind of bet on that. But
and
I
also,
do think I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know what it is, but Giants just like getting quarterbacks that have that dumb Eli Manning face. I think Daniel Jones has the same thing.
Yeah,
he does have a dumb looking face.
Yeah. All right, next question here. I hope he's not watching. Kenny Galladay is one of the new wide receiver additions here in New York, as we already mentioned. Where are you targeting Kenny Galladay in drafts, and are you worried about this early injury already?
definitely worried because we saw a hamstring injury linger all last season and only allowed him to play 3 games. If he's 100%, which I'd like to hear that soon before our draft personally, he could finish top 15, previously shown in 2019 when he played a full season with Matt Stafford. Obviously, Daniel Jones isn't Matt Stafford, but a full season, and he's definitely the wide receiver 1. It's there. Just you are a little worried.
Yeah,
I agree right with you, Q.
Yeah, he's being drafted as wide receiver 26, so it's a pretty good ADP for someone that has that potential to be a wide receiver 1, as we've seen in the past. But definitely a little bit risky with the injury history. That's the only thing that really scares me, and I think that's why his ADP is where it's at. So I'm targeting more as a wide receiver 2, low end, personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the remaining wide receiver core, which one are you targeting after Galladay? So as of right now, they're all pretty much going pretty much free in 10-team leagues, 12-team leagues. Sterling Shepard's going wide receiver 68, 199th overall. I think that's still one of the late rounds there. Kadarius Toney, wide receiver 72, and Slayton, wide receiver 85. Which one do you like the most?
What is up with all this Darius Slayton slander?
But yeah, this is the I was about to say this was the argument me and Matt had all season, and I had won that argument because when Shepard came back, he was the guy, and I was
the guy.
I was humble about it.
You did,
but
I gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah, when Slayton came back, he never had a game under 5 targets, averaged around 7 or 8. Obviously, Shepard. So yeah, Shepard. So I do like Shepard the most. Obviously, there's value with Slayton as well, being the big play guy. You just have to hope that Daniel Jones targets him out of the many weapons they have. There's no Golden Tate anymore, so I guess I don't know, but they do have a rookie. But Shepard, even being the first one drafted after Galladay, I still think he has the best value.
I agree with you. I think Shepard is definitely the best option out of those 3 right there. But I still think that Evan Ingram is going to get his fair share of targets this year. So that kind of hinders the potential of any other receiver. And of course, Saquon Barkley being back, he's going to eat up a lot of targets as well out of the backfield. So I think this offense is going to be pretty well balanced. So it's kind of going to be hard for anybody past those 3 in Galladay, Ingram, and Saquon to really get like a lot of production. But if anybody, it's definitely got to be Sterling Shepard.
Yep. I would definitely agree with you there too. I like Shep a lot. So I'll talk about him more in a little bit here. But let's get into some cap or no cap. Start with RB1. If Saquon Barkley is fully healthy for week 1, he should be an automatic top 5 pick. Cap or no cap?
No cap.
I have him at 6, so technically capped.
Man, his rookie season, he finished RB2 in fantasy. The year after that, where he missed, I believe, like 3 or 4 games, he finished RB10. So imagine if he didn't miss those games, he'd easily be inside that top 5.
I lied. He actually have him at 4th. I was just guessing. I found
an
EQ. But yeah, he had a monstrous rookie season, offensive rookie of the year, I think.
But go ahead.
Take it away. Just with Galladay, we can bring Galladay for everything, but with Galladay now being like a respectable wide receiver, and they don't have to stack the box, which is what got Saquon hurt. Their offensive line was bad, and they just pummeled him every play. He can only break so many tackles with the quads.
Yeah.
Right. And just going back, sorry, Sean, let me get this out real quick. But the top 5 running backs of last year was Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, and Aaron Jones. I could easily see CMC and Saquon both taking over, possibly maybe Aaron Jones, David Montgomery spots in that top 5. Yeah. Maybe if even Alvin Kamara could fall outside of that due to Drew Brees not being there, and that whole entire Saints offense kind of looking suspect right now. So I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be top 5.
Yeah, I agree. If he's fully healthy, no cap, 100%, he should be a top 5 pick.
Talent-wise, he could be top 3 running back in the league. I mean, he is.
He could be number 1.
He could be easily. I had him at 4, but I moved him down to 6 just because of the injury concerns. But I think if you know he's fully healthy for week 1, easily have to take him top 5.
For sure.
All right, next one here, cap or no cap, Evan Engram still has the potential to be a top 12 tight end this season.
Cap. And I hate that
no cap.
I hate that I talked about him being whatever I said. I said something good about him, but I took it all back. He has a drop issue that needs to be fixed. I have him ranked 9th in tight ends, but the addition of Kyle Rudolph may hurt his value, especially in the red zone. I think Kyle Rudolph is a guy that's going to vulture a lot of those touchdowns that could be going to Ingram. Top 12, even with tight ends being very bad last year, I still can't see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying no cap based off the fact that he only finished 5 points away from being top 12 last year. I forget who exactly came in 12th, but I did forget about the addition of Kyle Rudolph because my next point was going to be that Evan Ingram had a whole lot of red zone work last year. So, I mean, that might take away a little bit of his touchdown capability. But the Giants also do have the 5th easiest schedule for tight ends this year, which is something to keep note on. So they're not going to be facing anybody with really like a great defense that's good at defending the tight end position. So I could see possibly Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram both having a decent year. But I just like Evan Ingram a lot more. He's still much younger. And he's just more familiar with the offense. And I feel like Danny Dimes kind of trusts him more. So
yeah, I agree as well. I think I'm going to say no cap also. I mean, I think he still has the potential to be a top 12 tight end, but there's just so many mouths to feed there. Galladay's going to take up some of that red zone work. Kyle Rudolph, he might have like 20 catches on the season, but 5 of them are going to be touchdowns somehow. He's just going to be a nuisance.
All one-handed.
Yeah, exactly. Just some crazy touchdowns for no reason. But yeah, Evan Ingram, he still has the talent. He's just got to put it all together, and he also has to stay healthy. So I think that's why he wouldn't, with all the mouths to feed. He could end up being like the 4th or 5th option on this team with all the talent they have on that roster. So
that number 12 last year was Hunter Henry,
and he's hurt.
Yeah, already. All right. Last cap or no cap, Kadarius Toney will have some value this year because at least one Giants wide receiver will get injured.
No cap because that probably will happen.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I gotta agree, no cap.
I mean, your wide receiver 1's already hurt. Shepard's had some injury history. I don't know about Slayton.
I feel like every single Giants wide receiver last year had some sort of injury going on throughout the season where they missed games.
Yeah, and it was even Ingram in 2019 too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there was never a game where like their stars played or their offensive guys played that one game together.
Yeah, a lot of injuries here. Toney definitely could have some value this year, especially if somebody goes down, especially if Shepard goes down. Not preferably, but if if Shepard does go down, Toney is more of a slot guy, so he would definitely step right into that role and get some targets. All right, let's get into our bold takes and favorite targets. Matt, start us off. What do you got?
Alrighty. It's a guy that Q has been bringing up a whole lot so far talking about the Giants, and that's Kenny Galladay. I believe he will finish back inside the top 20 of wide receivers this year, barring injury, of course. He's still only 27, so he still has some good years ahead of him. The downgrade at QB kind of scares me a little bit, but we saw what he was able to do in a bad offense. And I'm not calling this a bad offense at all. Like I said earlier, they're well balanced. I think Daniel Dimes is more than capable of getting the ball downfield to Kenny Galladay, especially if they're in the red zone, like Sean said. So I just see Kenny Galladay sneaking his way back up. And right now he's going as wide receiver 26, I believe. So you could be cashing out on some Kenny Galladay this year.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to one-up you and say Kenny Galladay finishes top 12 if he plays the whole season healthy. In 2019, he was wide receiver 9. Yes, he's not Stafford. Daniel Jones is not Stafford, but he's a wide receiver 1 on that team by a long shot. And their defense is all right, but there's going to be games where they're playing from behind. So he'll definitely be looked at. You just got to hope that the injury doesn't linger from last season to training camp. And yeah, it's there though.
Potential is definitely there. I mean, we know the talent's there. It's just a matter of staying healthy and Danny Dimes getting him the ball enough.
For sure. And he could see a lot of one-on-one coverage this year with Saquon being back. So
Saquon, good wide receivers around him too. So yeah, Galladay, he definitely has that potential still. A little bit of a risk, but definitely worth it. I'll finish this off here. Sterling Shepard finally has a fully healthy season and finishes as a top 35 wide receiver. I don't think it's that bold, but he did have 7.5 targets already a game, like you mentioned, for last season. He's always been a target monster for Danny Dimes. He's super good in the open field, over the middle there. And even in training camp this year thus far, they have been raving about him. He's been able to generate a lot of buzz. So Sterling Shepard looks to be poised for a good season. Obviously, the only thing that scares you is his health. And if you can get him at wide receiver 68, you could get an absolute steal and redraft. So I'm taking Sterling Shepard. I think he definitely has flex upside if he's able to stay healthy. With Galladay taking away a lot of the attention, he might just be able to be open all the time.
That also reminded me, not what you said, but just in case anyone's wondering, T-Gots isn't here today. He had a hard, long day, and we need to give him some rest.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the Washington football team, soon to get a new name eventually.
We don't know.
But when are they going to get a new name?
I think it's for next year. They're supposed to have a new name.
It's been long enough.
This year, I think they're still rocking the football team.
Egg ball throwers.
Yeah, egg ball. All right. Let's start off with their new RB1, Antonio Gibson. Not that new, but new last year. He's primed for another big year after a solid rookie year. Does he have top 5 potential, and where are you targeting him?
Top 10? Yes. Top 5? That might be a little too high. Pass catching is his best ability. We know that coming out of college. He's barely had any rushing attempts. And I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick, for as bad as he may be, maybe not even bad, but he is an upgrade from what they had last year. I think you're taking a risk with his ADP if you're comparing it to that, just because there's some guys that are around that area that have proven them that they're good fantasy running backs, but it's definitely worth the risk for the reach. I guess it's worth the reach because of what he is capable of doing, and with Fitzpatrick being the quarterback, definitely going to be seeing a lot of targets and dependent on him a lot.
Yeah, I think his potential is just like a little capped just because of JD McKissick being there and seeing the season that he had last season. He was tremendous. He put up like RB2 numbers. And now the addition of Curtis Samuel as well. And we saw what he did as a rusher while Christian McCaffrey was hurt in Carolina last year. So that could also eat into his volume because he was only averaging, I think, like 14 or 15 touches per game last year. So I do see that going up to maybe like 17 or 18, but his volume is really what's capping his potential for me.
Yeah, I think it was just more of the rookie, like easing him into the offense last year a little bit. He started to get more work as the season went on as well, but then he got banged up. But I do think Antonio Gibson has top 5 potential, in my opinion. I think it would be like number 5, like he would sneak in there and kind of shock some people. I really like his game. JD McKissick's another year older. I don't think he's going to be as involved this year. They did say they wanted to get Gibson more involved in the passing game. He's always been a good receiving back. He was really good in college, and he only had 36 catches last year compared to JD McKissick's 80. I think that balances out a little bit more. And I think with that balancing out, I think that really helps Antonio Gibson take that next step. I think he's going to be top 10 most likely for sure. I think he's an RB1 option, but I do think he could squeak into that top 5 also.
Yeah. Top 5 still is a little too far, but
it's close.
It is.
We'll let you have 5. You're going to say 5.
That's pushing it.
I like him I like him a lot. I think he's one of my favorites out of those younger backs. I think he is my favorite out of like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and those guys.
That like 12 through 19 rankings, he might be the best one to break top 10.
Yeah, and Fitzmagic loves targeting the running back, so he's definitely going to get a few more catches this year. But what about Antonio Gibson's backup, JD McKissick, like we've mentioned a few times here? Is he a value in drafts at this point? He finished last year as RB 17, and I already mentioned he had 80 catches, but he's being drafted as RB 46.
He led all running backs in targets. How?
He was getting fed because they were just dumping the ball.
Alex Smith was the quarterback. He's very safe.
Mr. Conservative.
Yeah.
Fitzmagic, Fitztragic, one of them. I don't think it's going to hurt Gibson's value, but I think that McKissick is now downgraded and more towards like an RB3 or a flex on like a desperate, maybe not desperate, but on a bye week for sure. You can probably plug him in and hope that it's a game where they're throwing the ball a lot and he has to come in.
Yeah. I think at RB46, he's definitely a value, though. He's just not a sexy name. No one's really going out of their way to be like, let me draft JD McKissick. But he still has that potential to be a low-end RB2 this year with the passing game work he could see. I think Fitzpatrick throws to the running back a lot as well, like Smith did. So
like there were times last year where in our league where Gator himself had McKissick and plugged him in as RB2.
RB1
Yeah, RB1. And it wasn't even a bad option. Maybe
it worked. He was solid.
I don't know why he had to do that, but
he was getting like 6 catches for like 46 yards. Like,
yeah, it was ridiculous.
Not that pretty, but he was getting the job done.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the wide receivers here. We'll talk about Curtis Samuel and Terry in a second, but sneakily they added Adam Humphries as well, who seems to be one of Fitzpatrick's favorite targets in camp thus far. Is he worth a late round flyer or no?
I think he could be like a cheap Cole Beasley, maybe because they have the same build, but I think he's just a flex option. He didn't have a good season last year. Mainly, he had COVID, but in 2018, he was pretty good on Tennessee. Last year, he just couldn't get it together. But I'm not trusting him.
Yeah. I don't really like anybody that's not one of the big names in this offense, like we said. I just think it's going to be too streaky of an offense. I mean, obviously, Terry McLaurin is going to get his, Curtis Samuel as well, and the running backs. But aside from that, the only other weapon I really see is the tight end Logan Thomas, and he's going to eat up a lot of receptions this year as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's room for, I guess you could say, a fourth receiver, taking the running backs combined as one other receiver. I just don't see enough volume to go around there to make anyone worth drafting.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I don't think Adam Humphries, I think at best he's a late round flyer. Like last round of the draft, you're throwing a dart. Maybe he gets some volume in the slot there, but I just don't see it happening either. I'm with you guys. Just some training camp buzz that I'm ignoring. I think it's more noise.
I don't know if it's ignoring because you still mentioned it.
Yeah, but like ignoring personally. Like I don't think I'm believing it. All right, let's get into some cap or no cap. Start off with quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick has top 12 potential, but will be too inconsistent to target as a QB1.
That is
Cap or
the
no cap?
biggest cap.
Cap the top 12, no cap to inconsistent.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's true.
true.
That's true. But you want to know the last time that Ryan Fitzpatrick finished as a top 12 fantasy quarterback?
2001.
2015. It was the year we graduated high school.
Where was he? Buffalo?
That was the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it could have been the
so.
Jets, yeah. He had Brandon Marshall probably.
And
yeah,
that
was a good season. They almost made the playoffs.
His prime is well past him by this point. How old is he? He's 38 years old.
90.
And his name is not Tom Brady. So
Yeah,
there's no.
We talk about Tom Brady being 43. Why don't we ever talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick being 30? You said 38.
He's not winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, exactly. He's irrelevant. No one cares. But yeah, I agree. Definitely cap. I don't think he has top 12 potential. I think he could have top 12 potential on like a week by week basis,
Yeah,
but not for the whole season.
No way.
All right. He's the Caucasian Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Just throws the ball with his eyes closed.
Yeah, but they were on the same team. That was a nightmare. All right. Cap or no cap, Terry McLaurin will be a top 10 wide receiver this season.
No cap.
There's potential, but I'm saying cap.
I think they got a big upgrade at quarterback because what McLaurin had to deal with last year in Dwayne Haskins and Mr. Conservative Alex Smith, who didn't throw the ball past 15 yards downfield.
He had Haskins for like, did Haskins even play?
He had like 2 weeks, I think, right?
And who else?
Taylor Heineke. Oh yeah, Kyle
Allen. So he just did it with whoever he could, and he still finished wide receiver 18. So I think the steady quarterback and his big playability mixed in with Ryan Fitzpatrick liking to air the ball out, I think that's just a match made in heaven for him. So I think he is going to have a much better sophomore season. And of course he's going to finish top 10.
Maybe he can be number 11, but I'm taking Michael Thomas out of the top 10, but even moving them up, Justin Jefferson would be 9, and Allen Robinson would be 10. So McLaurin would be 11 for me. But it's possible.
He could finish top 10.
I got him at 8, so I'm saying no cap. I love Terry McLaurin this year. Scary Terry's going to feast with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he's way better, even though he's so inconsistent. I still think he's going to be able to just feed Terry McLaurin the most on that offense. He's going to get
receiver-wise, he doesn't have much competition outside of like the 10 Temple wide receivers that they have on that team.
And Curtis Samuel.
No, well, yeah, and Curtis Samuel.
I mean, ever since he's joined the team, he's had 25% of their target share and 41% of their air yards.
Yeah.
What other type of yards? Gas yards, water yards,
all the yards.
All the
getting 9 targets
yards.
a game. I'll take Terry all day. All right, last cap or no cap. Curtis Samuel will be a steal at, wide receiver 42 because he will finish as a top 30 wide receiver. Cap or no cap.
Cap. Dude, does he get?
I kind of want to say no cap.
I think he loses some credit because you were able to play him as a running back or wide receiver. He was doing 2 positions. The points are going to add up.
However, I think he's going to get a lot more work as a wide receiver this year than he was in Carolina because he was stuck behind Robbie. He was stuck behind DJ Moore. There's more of a third option there. I think here he's clear-cut second option. So I think that helps him. I'm going to say no cap. I think he can finish as a top 30 wide receiver, no doubt.
And he's back with his old head coach and offensive coordinator. So he's familiar with them. They're familiar with him. They're definitely going to look to get him involved a lot.
Yeah, I like Curtis Samuel, especially wide receiver 42. I think it's probably safer to say top 35 than top 30, but I think he still has the potential to be a solid flex weekend.
It's crazy to think that he only finished with 13 less fantasy points than McLaurin last year.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's crazy.
Update. The Washington does not have that Temple wide receiver anymore.
They don't have Isaiah Wright?
Nope. I thought it was Steven Sims Jr., but it's not. I didn't remember the name.
They definitely still have Isaiah
They do have DeAndre Carter, though. Former Eagle great.
Isaiah Wright's still on there.
Oh, this depth chart's wrong.
Well, he's probably he's more the punt returner than like consistent wide receiver. But anyways, let's get into our bold takes. Q, start us off. What do you got?
1 second. All right. So I think on the Washington football team, I still sometimes slips out of my mouth. The R word.
Better watch yourself.
I think definitely need to target the defense. They finished 6th last year. One of the best, if not the best, front four. Led by Chase Young, and they added players like Kendall Fuller and Landon Collins in the secondary. They finished lower than 6th in turnovers, sacks, interceptions, yards, and points allowed. So, and they upgraded the defense. They drafted a linebacker this year. There's definitely potential of them being top 5, maybe top 3 with the Rams and the Steelers.
I like it. Definitely one of the better defensive units out there.
Yeah, I like it too. And they're going as the 5th defense off the board. So they're not that expensive unless someone's reaching on them. But if they're still there in the last couple rounds, I'm definitely eating them up. All right, Matt, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to get a little bold here. And I'm going to go ahead and say that Logan Thomas, once again, finishes in the top 5 tight ends. He finished number 3 last year. Now, we all know tight end isn't the best position. Anybody could finish anywhere. But I mean, he did it with the quarterbacks we mentioned earlier, with the Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, whoever it was.
16 of them.
Yeah. And he had 9 end zone targets last year. And I still see that trend happening again this year. I mean, they really only added Curtis Samuel, but I don't see him getting many end zone looks. And Logan Thomas has all the talent in the world. I mean, we saw it last year, finished number 3. And I think the upgraded QB with not having as conservative a quarterback throw into him, I think his potential is just there.
Well,
so I see
he's definitely going to score a lot of points when he comes to the Eagles because they have no linebackers to cover the tight end.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening again. I don't doubt it. I'm just not a huge Logan Thomas guy.
It's not a pretty name.
Definitely not a pretty name. But
I also thought he was
under
a
the
rookie
radar
last year. I thought he was
You
very
thought
young,
he was
and
a
he's.
rookie?
I didn't think he
He's,
was a
like,
rookie,
old,
but
isn't he?
like I didn't hear of him until last year. He just became so relevant. Like he
He
was
was
like
very under the radar.
Gary Barnage, Gary Garbage. Like he was in the league for like 20 years prior, and then one good year in Cleveland.
Because I think
Yeah.
before last year he had like 30 some receptions in his career
Yeah.
or
He just
something like minuscule like that.
came out of nowhere. Crazy. But I'll finish this off here with the Washington football team. I'm just targeting J.D. McKissick. I know I mentioned I like Antonio Gibson a lot, but I'm still targeting J.D. McKissick with that ADP of RB46. Definitely taking him, like we mentioned already multiple times. He was RB17 last year, 80 catches, led the league in running back targets. I think that goes down a bit, but I still think he's going to be a solid flex option and that you're going to be able to get super late in drafts. So I'm targeting J.D. McKissick in all my drafts as my RB4, RB5 territory, with upside to start him pretty much as my flex every single week.
That would be juicy.
I like it.
Juicy, juicy, juicy.
Did it last year.
Exactly. Can see it happening again. Same offense, not much has changed. So, all right, let's get into today's sponsor, the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. Thrive Fantasy app is a daily fantasy sports app for player props and sports betting. So if you download the Thrive Fantasy app today, use our promo code SUPERFB, that is SUPERFB, and you deposit $20 or more, you will receive an instant $50 bonus. Go check out the Thrive Fantasy app today. That's the Thrive Fantasy app. Download it, deposit 20, use our code, win yourself some money.
Football's on the way. Make some money.
Football is on the way. You could even do it for preseason games. Go have some fun.
It'd be risky.
Risky, still fun. All right, let's get into the Dallas Cowboys.
So this is what we needed T-Gots for. Why is this the one? I wish this wasn't the one he had to sit out.
Yeah, he's the big Cowboys guy. Definitely an Eagles fan, but he's a fan of a lot of
Cowboys
Cowboys
fantasy
He
players.
likes talent.
He likes talent. He's a fan of talent.
He has an eye for it.
He's not afraid to draft him on his fantasy team. All right. Let's start off with QB1. Dak should be back this year, fully healthy once he gets through the shoulder injury he's dealing with. Does he have the potential to be a top 3 fantasy QB, perhaps even number 1?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far to say number 1.
I'm not the biggest fan of Dak, but like the numbers don't lie. The first
we heard you.
4 weeks last year, he was like number 1 by a landslide. But I just think the injury kind of keeps it like holds him back a little bit. I don't know. I might be crazy for thinking that, but
if he's finishing top 3, I think he'd finish 3 just because Josh Allen is levels above him, and then there's Mahomes. Who?
Kyler Murray. Yeah, I still
who.
think he has the potential to be top 3, though. I agree with you. I think he could even squeak into number 1 if he goes on that insane pace he did, just because their defense is still not any good. So they're going to be down a ton, and he's got a ton of weapons to throw to catch up in games. So I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. So I wouldn't be shocked if he's able to squeak in that top 3, even in number 1. But I would say more comfortable drafting him in that 5 or 6 range. And then hoping for that upside to come true.
Outside of drafting the tight end, or not the tight end, the linebacker from Penn State, they haven't really made many upgrades to their defense. I think they got a Dory Jackson. I could be wrong, but they did get some guy in the secondary improvement, but their defense is still not good enough to where they'll be leading many games. And that's why I also, when we talk about the division winners, that's going to be the reason why they're not going to be winning this division.
Yeah, I hear you. The defense is definitely still suspect. But yeah, Dory Jackson actually went to the Giants, but I do think.
Oh, okay, so I got that confused. I knew it was one of them.
Yeah, but Cowboys defense not that great either way. All right, let's move on to the running back core. We all saw Zeke struggle mightily without Dak last year, but still finished pretty solid overall. Where do you see Zeke finishing this year? And does Pollard continue to take away some touches here or there? Or is this still Zeke's backfield?
I don't know
I think
what
it's
it is.
definitely
Definitely what? Zeke's backfield.
Easily still Zeke's backfield. I mean, that QB hit took a toll on everyone's production on that offense. You can't just single out Zeke. I mean, he's still practically more than doubled Pollard in touches last year. And I just see him hopping right back into top 10 running backs this year. I like them a lot. They still have a very good offensive line, so there's no reason that he can't get back into the top 10 conversation.
Do you remember when Tony Pollard was considered? We considered starting him over Zeke sometimes. Well, at least it was talk. I remember talking about
Yeah,
it.
it was talked
yeah.
about plenty.
I
Yeah.
hate Ezekiel Elliott, but he's just good. And for some reason, all the reports coming out make me feel very high on him. He could be a top 5 pick in the draft this year. If you're confident, if their offensive line's healthy, it's one of the best in the league, unfortunately, to admit. But it definitely is backfield. Pollard will still have his. They could be like a poor man's Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb type thing, but they'll both be relevant.
Yeah.
Zeke's just not going to have the type of year he did last year, where he was never RB top 10 after Dak.
Yeah. Zeke was definitely tough to own last year as a Zeke owner myself. But I do think Pollard does continue to take away a little bit of touches here or there. But I still think 100% agree with you guys. This is Zeke's backfield. Zeke's going to be fine this year. Definitely a top 10 running back, top 5 upside.
Zeke
Yes,
was
sir.
like free and absolute dog water at some point. You couldn't have gotten injured.
No one was trying to deal him for anybody.
I was trying to deal him for Joe
Nobody was
Mixon.
biting.
No one would bite it.
And Joe
Just
Mixon
wouldn't
didn't
work.
even play the rest of the season.
I know. I was literally desperate. He was, yeah, that hurt my team last year. Bad season. Bounce back this year. All right.
Easily.
Let's move on to the tight end.
Maybe.
Blake Jarwin seems to be the number 1 tight end on the squad, but was banged up last year with Dak. Is he worth a late round flyer, or are there too many mouths to feed on this team?
Coming
Way
to
too
last-
many mouths to feed.
There were coming last year. I feel like there was a lot of hype with Blake Jarwin
Yeah,
for
sure.
whatever reason. I don't know exactly why. I forget, but
He had a couple decent games before he got hurt, I think.
yeah. And then they Dalton Schultz, who whatever. But yeah, I think he's worth the flyer. I don't know if I have him ranked top 20, but there may be too many mouths to feed. Yeah, I don't even have him top 20.
There is.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team. Yeah, definitely. No, I don't think I'm drafting Blake Jarwin unless it's a flyer or like as my backup tight end, and I'm just looking to fill out my roster. I have him ranked. I don't even know where I have him ranked, dude. Blake Jarwin.
I don't even have him ranked inside the top 20.
I got him at 25.
It's not
So,
worth
yeah.
looking at.
I think he's a tight end 2 at best, but he could still have some sneaky upside, but not worth it. Dalton Schultz is still going to be involved too. So too many mouths to feed. It's
Yep.
like option number 6 on this team. So, all right, let's get into some cap or no cap. Talk about the wide receivers here. Cap or no cap, CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver 1 on this team and should be drafted as a top 12 wide receiver. Cap or no cap?
Cap. I'm still drafting Cooper ahead of him. They both should be drafted as top 15 wide receivers.
For sure.
He had an 18% target share last year, and that's with Dak out after 6 weeks. I do have high hopes for him this year, though. I don't want to sound like I'm not a fan of him. I don't know if he's going to be the number 1 after this year, maybe another year or two. Cooper is getting old. But yeah, I'm drafting Cooper ahead still.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I'm taking Cooper over him. I'm going to say cap. I think he does have top 12 potential for sure. This offense, either of them could be a top 12 wide receiver. But I do still think Cooper's got a lot left in the tank. So that leads into the next cap or no cap. Amari Cooper still has plenty left in the tank and still should be a top 15 wide receiver.
No
Cap.
cap. Easy no cap.
Easy.
He finished
no cap.
he finished 15th last year with Andy Dalton throwing to him after Dak went down. So I mean, he's got
Ben
plenty left.
DiNucci.
And Ben DiNucci. Can't
There's definitely
forget
someone
Benny.
else.
Yeah, Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
could easily still finish. Top 15 is a no-brainer for Coop, especially if Dak is able to stay healthy all season.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, he finished top 21 at least the last 5 of 6 seasons. We always talk about how bad Zeke was last year, but they all were because of the QB play. It wasn't just Zeke that was affected. When Dak was playing, though, the first 5 weeks, Cooper was the best receiver in the league, best scoring. He had 18, 16, 18, and 33. I think that made him number 1 in scoring. And then once he got hurt that game, he had like 1 point, and then he was just he had Zeke's value wide receiver wise the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
had
was
one more.
still
Still a wide receiver,
decent
too.
throughout the season with Dak being out, which is all the more reason to think that he's only just going to get better with Dak being healthy all year.
Yeah,
he
for
did
sure.
finish 15. So
Yeah, he was still solid overall. He finished strong. He had 92 catches. He was still clearly the number one guy, and I think he is again this year.
Yep.
Last cap or no cap, Michael Gallup still has some flex value. It's worth a shot as your wide receiver 4. Cap or no cap? Matt, I'll let you start this one off.
Huge cap. If you watch the podcast, preseason podcast at all last year, I had Michael Gallup as my MVP, most valuable pick. I couldn't have been more wrong. He was basically useless aside from maybe like 2 or 3 weeks last year. I was starting him just in hopes that he would even catch the ball because CeeDee Lamb broke out of nowhere. I mean, we knew he had talent, but didn't know that he was going to take over the number 2 role just like that. And Coop, like we said, is still a top 15, top 20 wide receiver. And I just don't see Gallup getting the type volume that he needs to produce wide receiver 4 or flex numbers.
Yeah, you stole like every word out of my mouth. The only thing I will say, devil's advocate, is it's his contract year, so maybe he'll play out of his. He just has to hope he gets the ball. But he was dropping a lot. He dropped a lot. Maybe it was one of the Eagles games in the end zone. He got targeted so many times in the end zone, just did not catch a single ball.
Yeah, I'm saying cap. I don't think he has that much flex value. I mean, I'd draft him as like a wide receiver 5, as like a late round flyer, just in case if CD or Amari Cooper goes down, he could easily be a solid flex. But
we're not hoping for injuries.
Not hoping for injuries ever. So, not drafting Michael Gallup in most leagues. All right, let's get into favorite targets and bold takes. Hugh, you can start us off. What do you got?
Favorite target is the Amari Cooper. Might be obvious. He might be the second best player on this team. No, positional player that's not quarterback. So it would be Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper. He finished top 10. He finished wide receiver 10 in 2019 with his first full season with Dak, and he was on pace to probably be the best receiver last year before Dak got hurt. So what's there not to maybe invest in some more into Amari Cooper if Dak's healthy and Amari Cooper can stay as the number 1 wide receiver on that team? I don't know where he's being taken right now, but it's probably in a good spot because maybe a week or 2, he just got taken off the PUP list. So people were worried about an injury that he had or surgery or something, but he's going to be a good pick.
Yeah, I agree. Draft Coop. What do you got, Matt?
All right. So you guys gave me a little insight on this bold take, and it might be a little too conservative now that he mentioned it, but I'm going to stick with it. I believe Coop and CD both finished in the top 20 wide receivers this year. Like I said, Coop finished 15th last year with horrible QB play after Dak went down, and CD finished 22. So, I mean, they could both easily finish top 15. If Dak can stay healthy, Dak is a very good talent. He has all the potential in the world to just unleash these guys' potential, especially. They're both good deep downfield. They're both good after the catch. And I just don't see any problem as to where they can't finish inside the top 20 barring any injuries.
Yeah. Are they the best wide receiver duo in the East?
Yes.
Are the Vikings in the East?
In the NFC East? Or are you talking about
the NFC East?
Yeah.
Easily. Oh, yeah. Easily.
I guess maybe you can make an argument for the Giants.
No.
Can you make an argument
for not compete with CD?
For the Vikings?
The next one would be Washington football team.
Can you make an argument for the Vikings, Sean?
Yes, you can.
No, in the NFC
but they're not
East.
in the East.
Well, when you say the East, I'm like thinking East-West like it's fucking basketball.
Yeah, Matt's fried.
The Minnesota Timberwolves aren't even in the East.
Yeah.
Or I don't know divisions.
Yeah, for sure. I'll finish this off here. For T-God's bold take, I will just chime in. I think he thinks CD will finish over Coop. I think he mentioned that beforehand, as well as Dak being top 5. So he's really high on this offense as well. Wanted to make sure we got that out there. But I'll finish this off here. Tony Pollard carves out a decent role and finishes as a flex option running back around top 30. I don't know if I could confirm that he's going to finish top 30. A little bit risky, but I do think he does get a little bit more involved this year. Like I mentioned, he's going to catch some passes out of the backfield when he's on the field. So I'm taking Pollard as one of the best handcuffs and possibly starting him in my flex some weeks. So Tony Pollard could easily carve out a decent role. We saw him pretty decently relevant last year, and with Dak back, he could definitely make some headway.
You are loving these like backup running backs.
Backup RBs.
JD McKissick, no. Why didn't you talk about Devontae Booker, Corey Clement, or Alfred Morris?
Corey Clement, RB2 there, but no, not relevant. Saquon is a beast if he's healthy. All right, let's get into the birds as we've been waiting the whole episode since we're all repping the birds. Let's start off. Wentz was shipped off to Indianapolis, as we all know. So it's Jalen Hurts season in Philly. Are you confident drafting Jalen Hurts as your QB1?
No. He was not very efficient when he played the 4 games he played last year. T-Gots may have talked about he had like a lot of yards in the 4 games that he played.
Rushing
yards. And I have to find that stat. I'll go back to it, but
yeah,
he might not even. What if he doesn't start in Philly? What if he gets traded and then he's in Houston? Then how do you? We'll have the whole separate podcast just for Jalen Hurts.
Well, yeah, of course. That would be crazy news if Deshaun Watson comes, Jalen Hurts gets shipped out. But for now, Jalen Hurts is safe on the ground in Philly. Although they still don't want to call him QB1. I believe they're just
Joe Flacco
because
season.
If Joe Flacco starts QB1, the Eagles are insane.
I will stop watching them.
But yeah, I'm pretty confident drafting him as my QB1. I definitely want to pair him with someone else. I don't want him to be the only quarterback on my roster. But if I wait till later in the draft and Jalen Hurts is sitting there, I'm definitely going to take him, maybe pair him with like Joe Burrow or maybe a safer choice like Kirk Cousins. And Jalen Hurts upside with the run game. He's going to have to do everything for this team. I like him.
Yeah. So yeah, last year he either had 60 rushing yards or a rushing touchdown in all 4 games that he played.
Super solid.
I just think why are they entertaining the idea of Deshaun Watson? There has to be something that they don't like. If he's not good this year, he's I mean, it's not even about starting him in fantasy, but there's just something there that he just might not be as good, but the rushing ability makes him extremely valuable.
Yeah. For me, it's not about the efficiency in fantasy. It's about the volume. And Jalen Hurts is going to have a ton of opportunity to throw the ball as well as run the ball if he's on this team, of course. But as of right now, he is. And I think it might not be pretty. He may throw a couple picks. He may fumble here or there. But I think he's going to have to do everything for this team for the Eagles to have a chance to win in games. So that's why I like him in fantasy. But moving on to the running backs. Miles Sanders is still the clear-cut starter here in Philly, most likely, but they do still have Boston Scott, added Kerryon Johnson, drafted Kenneth Gainwell, Jordan Howard still in the mix. Are you worried about this committee overpowering Miles Sanders?
Let Matt go first.
I kind of wanted to hold off, but I will go.
If you want,
I'm not really worried about it. I mean, Boobie is clearly the best one out of the bunch. I don't see why they don't give him more work than they did last year. He only averaged about 14 carries a game last year. We need to see that go up. We, like Sean was saying, we are going to be relying heavily on Jalen Hurts to keep us competitive in games. But I also think that we have to get that running game going a little bit because we kind of lacked that last year, not giving him enough touches. And, I mean, when he does get the touches, we've seen him produce.
And there was like a stat. He was like top 5 when he made the most. He made the most out of the carries that he did get, and that's why we'd be like, feed more Boobie. Didn't get.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous personally. I just think. Go ahead, Q.
No, you go.
All right. I just think with the pass catching running backs, I'm scared about his passing volume just dropping almost off the face of the earth. I mean, Boston Scott's looking to be the clear third down guy here in most situations, as well as Kenneth Gainwell they drafted, who's a very good pass catching running back. And if Kerryon Johnson ends up staying in the mix, he can also catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield. So if Miles Sanders only catches 20 to 30 passes, I think that really hurts his value. He is a good pass catcher, though. I know he had some drop issues last year, but it was also a lot of missed targets from Wentz as well. So I think it was just a frustrating season for him. If he does get the volume, Miles Sanders has that RB1 potential still.
Yeah. Like I love Miles Sanders. I love him a lot. But there's just like the 49ers, there's so many running backs. And these guys, though, they might all make the team. he had a drop issue you just mentioned. He had a fumble issue. He only lost 2 of 4 fumbles, so not that big of an issue. But I see all these running backs, like they have running backs for every possible situation. A passing guy could be Gainwell or Scott. A goal line guy is going to be Howard. Jalen Hurts also runs the ball, so he's a threat of taking away touches from Sanders. But the Sirianni does have a history of using his running backs a lot. He did in Indianapolis, but at the same time, the downside is that he has the committee. He likes the committee. So what's new to Miles Sanders? He just can't be the guy, unfortunately.
Free booby.
I like him as an RB2 this year.
He's being drafted as an RB2.
Yeah, like 18th, right?
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, RB 18.
And I would be currently drafting him as an RB2 with the top upside of him being top 10, which would be an absolute steal. But it's like two spectrums. There's like some people think he's just an RB2, and then there's other guys like myself who I want to believe, and Matt definitely, who thinks he could be top 10, top 5, one of the best running backs in the league. And he can be.
There's no doubt in my mind.
But it's not up to him.
Easily be top 10.
It's not up to him whether he gets the work or not. Unfortunately, we wish that he could, because he would absolutely. Eagles would have been a better team last year if he was used a lot more.
I wish it was like Road to Glory in the old NCAA football games, because I would make myself a running back, and when you were good enough, they would let you pick a play, and I would always make it a run play.
Of course. Yeah, Miles Sanders. Yeah, I'm just a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about the committee approach. Whole new offense. That's the only thing that scares me a little bit. I think last year I had him closer to an RB1. This year I have him closer to a low end RB2. I got him at 19. So right where his ADP is where I'm pretty much comfortable taking him.
And he's also a current RB2 I have ranked just like Gibson. That could be top 10. I think he's second in line after Gibson just because Gibson's work, but Sanders has skill to be top 10 also.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lower than that, but I could easily see it happening. All right. Moving on to the wide receiver that they added, Devonta Smith, rookie wide receiver out of Alabama, one of the best rookie seasons in college history. He's going to miss a couple weeks, but should be ready for week 1. He may be able to play in that last preseason game as well. Where are you targeting him in redraft, and what is his ceiling this year as a rookie?
I think
I'm targeting him right where his ADP is. That's right around like a low end wide receiver 3. But I think that he has all the potential in the world to be a wide receiver 2. I'm not going to go as far to say is that he can be a wide receiver 1, because we still have Jalen Hurts under center. And I mean, that offense could fall apart throughout the season. We've seen it happen before. We saw it last season. But I think he has tremendous talent, tremendous deep play ability. So I like him as a huge upside wide receiver 3 flex option. And I could see him definitely finishing better than his current ADP at wide receiver 32.
Yeah. I think, I was going to say the same thing. I think his ADP is right where I draft him. He's in a good position to where, like, I don't think there's much talent or a talent around him. Like Rager, I'm not a fan of at all, which we'll definitely talk about. And I think he's going to be the best rookie out of these rookie wide receivers. And I'm just going to continue to ride my take when we talked about the Vikings that he's going to finish better than Justin Jefferson did last year. Maybe, I think I said this year. I don't know. But either way, he's going to have a great rookie season as long as Jalen Hurts is somewhat accurate, which doesn't sound like he has been so far. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if he could be if he's Justin Jefferson type
wide receiver
talent,
1 easily.
Yeah, then you got a steal taking him as wide receiver 32.
Yeah, I would say his ceiling is more of a wide receiver 2. I'm targeting him right where he's being drafted, kind of as a flex in that 30th wide receiver range. Probably like right after like DJ Chark, but before a couple of guys after him like Hollywood Brown and whatnot.
Ceiling Justin Jefferson, floor T Higgins.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. T Higgins, that's a pretty sturdy floor. Right?
Yeah, that's a solid floor, man. And I think he's getting underdrafted with that assessment.
Well, hopefully people are listening.
Yeah, I think I agree. If he's on the field and he's playing and Jalen Hurts is slinging it, he's going to catch a lot of balls and he's going to get a lot of separation on this offense. He's going to get fed. All right, cap or no cap for the Birds. Start with the guy we just mentioned, Jalen Reagor. He will bounce back from a lost rookie season and finish as a viable flex option as a top 35 wide receiver. Cap or no cap?
Cap.
Big Cat.
Yeah, it's cap. It's cap.
It's Cap.
I can't.
He finished the third best wide receiver on the team last year behind Travis Fulgham and Greg Ward.
Well, he was also banged up for sure.
He did miss games. I'll give him that. But Fulgham also missed games. The only one out of those three to play the full season, I believe, was Greg Ward. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I mean, like we just said, the new addition, Devonta Smith, that's another mouth to feed. All the receiving running backs we have. Ertz is returning for another season. That's another mouth to feed. I just don't see him getting the volume to where he could put up top 35 wide receiver numbers. I mean, he didn't do it last year when he possibly had all the potential in the world to do it, like all the opportunity, and he just did nothing with it. So I'm not confident at all in Jalen Reagor being a flex option on my team.
Yeah. I'm drafting him as a wide receiver 5 and hoping that the upside comes.
Right now, my
my
wide receiver 35 is Chase Claypool. Above him is Debo, and behind him is DJ Chark. And I don't think he's
Reagor
in that
is
realm.
nowhere near.
He's not in that. I think I just have so much hate for Reagor because I knew that he was like the first guy to start the Wentz train to leave. Like he hated Wentz. I don't know what it was. Maybe because he's young, just like Hurts, like new regime. But that, and then he would just talk. It's all narrative. I think he was doing that, and then he would come on the field and not play well. So it's just like, go home, man. And the whole we should be having Justin Jefferson instead of him.
Yeah, that definitely hurts. That stings. But I think he could have some value, but top 35 would actually surprise me a lot.
Yeah, that's
like I'd be very surprised if he gets that much work. Because there's also two good tight ends we're about to talk about, starting with Dallas Goedert. He will finish as a top 10 tight end with top 5 upside. Cap or no cap?
No cap.
No Kizzy.
No Kizzy.
Finished top 11 the last 2 seasons, and last season he was out a couple games, maybe like 5. He played 80% of the snaps when he played and saw at least 7 targets a game. With one of the youngest wide receiver cores and definitely not the most talented.
It was a practice squad out there, bro.
Yeah. I think he will be top 10, even with Ertz active. I think they'll both be top 10. I mentioned in the last podcast. So Goddard has top 5 potential for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. No cap for me. Also love Dallas Goedert this year. I am a little bit nervous though with Zach Ertz. Let's move on to him. Zach Ertz will also finish as a top 10 tight end with top 5 upside. Cap or no cap?
Cap.
No cap. It's cap. The top 5 upside's a little cap. But
that's cap. I do think
I don't see him finishing top 10.
I think he's more top 12, I would say, like confidently. I think it's going to be one or the other every single week. I think both are going to be involved personally. I think it's going to be those two and Smith are going to be the main 3 targets for Hurts to look for. Reagor, obviously, we just mentioned, isn't going to make that much noise. Maybe Quez Watkins or Fulgham makes a little bit of noise, but like, how much faith do you have in that? It's going to be the tight end. It's going to be Devonta Smith. So Hurts and Goddard are both going to eat in the red zone. When Jalen Hurts throws touchdowns, it's most likely going to be one of those two.
And there were reports coming out of Hurts targeting Goddard and Ertz the most. Mainly, I mean, that could possibly be because Smith is out.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, like, I think they're the best tight end duo in the league. I don't know anybody else off the top of my head. Maybe like the Buccaneers if OJ Howard comes back, they'd be number 2.
Yeah.
But who's going to you have the big guy in Dallas Goedert and the guy in Zach Ertz who barely ever drops the ball.
Yeah. And Ertz is actually supposedly outpacing Goddard in practice.
I did hear that too. That's
so good. Ertz definitely still has some value. I think last year just made everyone kind of forget about him after he was just like a top 5 tight end pretty much every season before that. So
top 3.
Keep Ertz on your radar, especially in later rounds. If you pair him with one and another tight end, he could end up being your starting tight end. All right, let's get into bold takes, favorite targets for the Birds. Q, what do you got?
We talked about all the running backs that the Eagles have, the running back factory, from quarterback to running back factory. I believe that all of their running backs will be fantasy relevant. Hopefully, Miles Sanders is the best of them all, but I think Boston Scott will have a huge role as he did last year when Miles Sanders was out with an injury. I mean, maybe I'm reaching a little bit because I don't know if you're ever going to start Jordan Howard, but he will definitely get into the end zone a couple.
The roster.
practice
Personally.
squad at
Who
least.
loves Jordan Howard?
There's most NFL teams roster 4 running backs, right? So like I think the odd man out's either Kerryon Johnson or Jordan Howard. If
Oh my
Howard makes
God,
the roster,
Kerryon
though,
Johnson.
Yeah.
If he could return to that all-star Kerryon Johnson form, him and Booby will be a 1-2 punch. So that's another factor. And then Kenny Gainwell, apparently he's
Good
a really
pass catcher, too.
good. Yeah. So I think they'll all be
They're
somewhat.
stacked.
Yeah, I don't know how many of them you're actually going to play. Maybe Gainwell, Miles Sanders, and Boston Scott. But Kerryon, he has potential to be something, some also option maybe.
Yeah.
If one of them go down.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a committee. That's what scares me. But Matt, you can get into the next take here. I know you like Miles Sanders the most.
I hate that committee idea because they need to free Miles Sanders. They need to give him the workload that he deserves. Like we said, he's going RB 18 right now, and I believe that if we start using him the way we should be, that could be an absolute steal. He has tremendous big playability. He was the first running back in 8 years last year to have 3 carries over 70+ yards, which is outrageous considering the touches that he was getting. He was only getting around 14, 15 touches a game. He had 4 games with 80+ rushing yards and 15 or less carries. And I forget exactly how many players have done that before him, but it wasn't very many at all. So, I mean, this guy's making do with what he can. He's literally taking the opportunity that he's getting and making the most of it. And I can't hate that at all. Averaged 5.3 yards per carry last year. Only 3 names better than that, averaging at least 160 attempts, was Derrick Henry, of course, Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb. So, I mean, if they just let Booby run Booby run, I'm telling you, he's going to be a very special running back in this league for a long period of time.
Obviously, he's on the same prison as Aaron Jones was because they let Aaron Jones free and he cooked. They just have to let him free as well.
Ram.
Yeah, for sure. I'll finish this off here with Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to be a top 8 fantasy quarterback. I mentioned this in our quarterback and tight ends episode. Might as well stick with my take here. I really like Jalen Hurts just because of what I've already mentioned at this point. Don't need to repeat it too much, but he's going to be the entire focal point of this offense. He's going to run the ball, probably get anywhere between 50 to 100 yards a game, running the ball on the ground. And then he's also going to be able to add a couple hundred passing yards with throwing it to 2 tight ends, Devonta Smith, Rager. Obviously, we already mentioned this whole team. So Jalen Hurts, he's got decent weapons around him, but it's going to be all on him this year. And I think for fantasy, he's going to get a lot of garbage time points when the Eagles are down in games. And I think that's really going to help his stock. So Jalen Hurts, I love running quarterbacks. He's young and he's ready to prove to the world that he's going to be the Eagle starter. So he's got a chip on his shoulder here. Jalen Hurts, top 8 for fantasy.
Yeah, I'm going to say this
like
from week 3 to week 8. I think he will be a top 8 quarterback for sure, just because they'll either be down a lot because the teams that they're playing, Buccaneers, Chiefs, Chargers, and then they play towards in the middle of the season, they'll play the Lions or some really bad teams. So those two will even out and he'll be down a lot or up a lot. But after that, maybe he'll just ride that and finish top 8. I want to believe, but at the same time, I hear so many things. I'm just like, I don't know.
I got faith.
You just got to see it.
Got faith in fantasy. He's going to get the volume. He's going to throw a ton, run a ton. He's going to have to do it all for this team. All right, let's get to the division winner for this division. I know we're all Eagles fans, but Q, start us off. What do you got?
I'm going to take the Giants. I think their defense, they were on a roll at the end of last year. They riding behind their coach. They've added some pieces, and their defense is definitely not as suspect, least suspect. No, the second least suspect in the division behind the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Somehow Daniel Jones can put it together and be respectable, maybe do a Baker type thing where they don't rely on him on the offense to win games. They'll win this division. I hate saying anyone besides the Eagles.
I know it sucks.
I feel like I'm being held at gunpoint.
Right. All right, Matt, what do you got?
All right. Well, this definitely pains me more to say this than it did for Q, but I'm not going to let my heart overpower my mind on this one. the Cowboys are by far the best team in this division. I mean, the talent that they have, especially on the offensive side of the ball, is unreal. I mean, like, it seems like every other team is just going to be playing catch up because they already have developed players. They have chemistry. The football team is still working with a second-year running back and a
third year.
why can't I think of their quarterback? And there's
Patrick.
Oh yeah, and an old ass
Fossil.
quarterback. Yeah,
All right.
Fossil.
You're reaching a little bit here.
How?
I think you're just picking. I don't know. I think the Dallas Cowboys are definitely the most talented, but the Cowboys are known to implode. That's why I'm not picking them.
I'm just going with the most talent here, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can do right now. We haven't seen him play.
All right. I hear you, Matt. Cowboys for Matt. T-God's not here. Also definitely thinks the Cowboys are going to win this division. He loves their offense more than anyone. For fantasy purposes, as well as just the real NFL, thinks the Cowboys are going to take it. And I honestly have to agree with him. Cowboys are going to win this division. As much as it pains me to say that, I really do think the Eagles could give them a run for their money if Jalen Hurts comes out, plays out of his mind. They do still have some pieces on the defense. Maybe they sneak in the wild card or something, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to get beat with that offense that they have as long as everybody stays healthy. If that goes down again, obviously, I think Washington would probably be my next team to go up.
Yeah.
Like their defense, they're probably going to run the ball a lot, but I think the Cowboys probably end up winning the division this year. It's always a different team every year, and I think the Cowboys are the one that kind of steals the show.
It's just like at some point though, their bad they're not gonna be able to come back from every game, or maybe they can, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, how many games do you think that the rest of the teams are going to be winning? You think the winner of this division has to win 10 games max?
No, I think they only have to win 8.
That's why I'm saying 10 games max.
Yeah, I think
they got to win 9. I think they got to go 9 and 8. Yeah, last year was an ugly division, so I think the Cowboys end up taking it. All right, Q. Let's do some football trivia before we get out of here. Before we get into some Thursday night football, what do you got for us?
We got to hurry up. The Bears are about to play, baby.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, question 1. There was a 4-week span in the NFL season 2020. This NFC East receiver led all wide receivers in fantasy points, but after that 4-week span, never saw the top 15 again.
Too easy.
Way too easy.
All right,
obviously
3,
we would know.
2, 1. Travis Fulgham.
Oh, T-Gods with the CD's nuts in there.
Yeah, T-God's here in the background helping us record, but had a lot going on today.
I may have to do 4 questions just because that one was so easy. Then they're not that long.
Well, I still want my point for that shit.
Yeah, you got it. T-God said CD Lamb.
He said he forgot Travis Fulgham existed.
Oh,
that's understandable because after those 4 weeks, he did not exist.
I think he forgot he existed.
All right, Q, what's next?
All right. So in the NFC, out of the NFC's running backs, who has the longest career run out of all current NFC East running backs?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay. This is a weird question. There's a lot of NFC East running backs. Hold on. All right, I think I got it.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
I hope I'm right.
Saquon, Miles Sanders, and Boobie. It is Miles Sanders. He actually
no way.
Matt gave. I was like,
I gave it away. I literally said it. He had 3 runs of over 70 yards last year. You think anyone had more than that?
2 weeks
in a row.
Had
like a 90-yard touchdown run.
No, Saquon's high was 78, which was a touchdown run. But Miles Sanders had like 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, he had 74 and then an 82-yard run.
Dang, that was close.
I love Boobie.
All right. Third question.
Me and Sean are tied for the lead right now, I think.
So Golden Tate. Golden Tate last year played for the Giants. He played for 3 other teams. Can you name them?
Okay. What's the third team? Shit.
You've got 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yeah, we need like.
Give me like 30.
I'll give you 29 more.
All right. Why can't I think of it? I hate this. I know this.
The audio
I love Golden
listeners
Tate.
need.
I'm just gonna guess.
I don't know if it's right. I think it might be though.
I know
but
2 of the 3.
I know 2 easy.
You
The
guys
third
ready?
one's tough. Yeah, I'm ready. Do you guys?
I know I'm wrong.
All right.
All right.
Yes. Okay. Show your answers. Lions, Seahawks, Saints. Lions, Seahawks.
Question mark.
Lions, Seahawks, Raiders. No, it was Lions, Seahawks, Eagles.
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
Oh my god!
Forget that.
What the hell? How did we?
If anything,
Why did we
I
all not remember that?
thought it'd be
Yo.
Seattle. No one got.
No way, we forgot that, dude. It was like 7 games, and it was so irrelevant.
He was the best
What?
receiver. He won us like a playoff game.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my.
dude.
How did we
How
all
did we
get the like
forget
2
that?
hardest ones to get and we didn't get our fucking
I thought that was gonna be too easy.
Wow, that's bad.
That's
That's bad as our
embarrassing.
Eagles fans. That's embarrassing. Cut this out of the podcast.
All
Get a new question.
right.
Oh man.
Third question.
It's 4th.
No, it's third.
This is a 4th Q.
It was Fulgham, then Golden Tate. Oh yeah. Okay, 4. In 2016, Wentz's rookie debut. Who did he play?
Easy.
And who?
Who
What
did
team
Wentz
did he
play
play
in his
against?
rookie debut?
Easy. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I have no idea.
Oh,
If we
wait.
did,
Maybe I don't
bonus
know.
points, I would say who did
Yeah,
he
I
throw
think
the
I
first
know.
touchdown to?
I know that.
I'm just
That's
guessing.
easy.
Yeah.
It's probably a team in the same division,
You ready?
but I'm
Yeah.
going outside of it.
All right.
I'm just guessing.
3, 2, 1. Browns. Bills. Browns. Oh, Bengals. No, it's the Browns.
Browns.
We
let's
all
go.
had teams that start with a B.
I do have one more question. It's really quick. It's just a true or false.
All
All
right.
right.
It was J Matt. He threw the first touchdown too,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way.
In 2020, Wentz was the league's most accurate passer within the 10-yard line.
In what?
2020,
This is
he
true
was
or false.
within the 10-yard line. He was the most accurate passer, and accurate as in his completion rate. Three, two, one. True, true, and false. It is true. He was the league's
Matt, that's a TF.
he
Matt's
was-
cheating.
No, it was. I had true though. It was true.
He wrote the little F thing.
I just had to do it.
I knew Q was playing with us again. He was
I
trick
know
questions.
that. I told you next time he does that, I'm taking the obvious answer because it's always the obvious answer.
Like I was
I-
like, I immediately thought like, no way. And I was like, well, Q asked it in this fashion. It's got to be true.
He threw a completion
like my little
rate of
TF though?
82%, and he had 14 touchdowns within the 10-yard line.
Nice. Wow. All right, I got three right. How many did you get right, Matt?
3.
Should have at least
No.
been 4, but
Yeah,
none of you
3.
guys. None of
We
you guys.
forgot that Golden Tate played for the
Oh
Eagles.
my god. No, yeah,
I
we got to
can't
cut that out or
believe that.
something.
I even
All right.
gave you the Giants. I said one of his teams. You only didn't name 3.
Wow, that's bad. That's really bad. All right. That's a wrap for the podcast. Make sure you're following us on all social medias, Twitter at Super FB Podcast and Instagram at Super Fantasy Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, please, as well. Trying to post more content on there. Follow us on TikTok. We're going to keep posting clips from each podcast, some edits and whatnot as well. And make sure you follow us pretty much everywhere that you can follow us. And if you're here live with us, of course, follow us on Twitch. Eagles are going to be on. We got preseason football. Not super
Let's go,
exciting,
baby.
but we're 28 days away, like I already
Hey,
mentioned.
listen,
so
Eagles football is always exciting.
yeah,
2 good
for us.
podcasts next week as well.
Yeah, and we'll be back Tuesday with our wide receiver episode. So make sure you tune in with that, and we'll finish our division series next week as well with the NFC South on Thursday. So make sure you're ready for both podcasts. That's a wrap, guys. Peace.